Well, a very good day to you, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of the Candy Talk here on Herman Manyora's YouTube channel. A lot has actually happened, but here we are. It's been long. I'm here with Wakili Willis Otieno, ready to bring you up to date with comprehensive analysis of all that is taking place in this country in terms of the political and governance dynamics that we are facing as a country. And yet, here we are once again. Wakili, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Yes.
We are back here after a short break, but I just want us to understand and make our viewers understand all that is taking place within the country. A lot has happened ever since we had this conversation. Of course, that was way before even the second batch of cabinet nominees were named by the president. But then after the second naming, then of course it has now come out very clearly that there is some sort of a working relationship between the Orange Party and the ruling Kenya Kwanza regime. So here we are. What do you think this means for the country? Let's begin from there.
You know, the first point that we must note is that the problem and the crisis we have in this country today is not a political crisis. Okay. It's an economic crisis. It's a crisis of governance, where the people are saying the economic premise upon which Kenya Kwanza has been leading this nation is leading us to an abyss. And they have rejected it. William Ruto's response to that challenge is to reach out to Raila and ODM to give him life. That solution which he's proposing is not a solution that addresses the problem. Raila Odinga and ODM have nothing to do with the economic crisis we find ourselves in. And there's no way they become a solution. In fact, in my view, by ODM accepting, or some members of ODM for that matter, accepting to join the sinking ship of William Ruto, they've essentially put themselves in the bull's eye, the eye of the storm, that they've taken ownership of the economic failures of Kenya Kwanza. They are the ones who will now be talking about the economy. And they're the ones who will be profiling to the Kenyan people what solutions they have. But unfortunately, this problem, those ODM members who joined cabinet do not understand even its root cause. Okay. And they will not be able to provide a solution. And more so, when you are dealing with a political leadership that is part and parcel of that problem. They were the initiators of that problem. They are the ones who carried it. And the chickens of Jubilee have come home to roost. Why should ODM put itself in the center of that roosting? Because the people of Kenya have seen through them. They've seen through Ruto and Kenya Kwanza. They've seen through the failed economic policies they're implementing. We are now seeing more and more Kenyans joining the jobless market. Okay. We are seeing more and more Kenyans going to sleep hungry. We are seeing our youth, our young people, are in a state of despair. They are desolate. They are not seeing any economic promise, any promise in future. That is why Kenyans went out on the streets and rejected the old political order, which was based on tribes, to say our governing should be based on an issue that affects me. How you run this country should be done in a way that I am able to achieve my full potential. The economy must work, and it must make sense to us. And it reminds me of James Carvile's quote, "It is the economy, stupid." It is not the politics, it's the economy.
So do you believe that perhaps the president read it wrong here when he thought that perhaps we are in a political crisis and therefore decided to fix this kind of political problem that we had here, so that perhaps he may be at a better chance of fixing the entire economic issue?
No, you see, that's why I say that if it was a political crisis, that people on the street saying that the government is exclusivist and we need a government of national unity, then reaching out to the opposition to get some of its members to join its government would be a solution. But in this particular instance, Kenyans don't even care about who is in government. Okay. So the problem was not who is the minister, who is what. No. The problem we had was that the economy, as superintended by William Ruto, is collapsing. And more Kenyans are losing hope. That is the problem. How does ODM members joining cabinet address the state of joblessness? Are they going to come up with policies or interventions to reinvigorate the job market in Kenya? No, they can't, even if they wanted to. I've said it here and I'll repeat. Our problem as a country is not a revenue problem. Our problem is an expenditure problem. Top on the list of expenditure is debt finance, which gobbles 80% of your collection. To put in a language that anybody can understand, out of every 100 Kenya shillings that the Kenyan government collects, 80 Kenya shillings goes to pay debt. Okay. They are left with 20 shillings. This 20 shillings is used to pay salaries, which requires 30. You need 35 shillings for operations. You need 50 shillings to counties. You will not mention development. So it means your largest expenditure item off your books is debt. If you don't touch that debt, then there's nothing you're doing. Because debt that is largely odious, illegal debt, is coming into the market, to the economy every month, and mopping up shillings and sending it abroad, or to privateers, the local domestic banks. So, and you're not seeing any project or an outflow back when the money is gobbled and taken out. So that is why there is no money circulating in the economy. You go to a shop, you cannot buy any item. You don't have money in your pocket. Even if they tell you unga has come down to 100 shillings. But still, you can't find the 100 shillings. Because the previous money that was circulating was mopped up in the collections and taken out to pay legal debts. So the moment you deal with this debt, then you free people of that pressure. Now you free the money to circulate in the economy. Are they willing and able to deal with that debt problem? I don't think so. Because they were part and parcel of the people who took the illegal debts. The odious debts that are strangling and choking this country to fiscal collapse is what has led us to this problem. So any solution to our problem today that does not address the debt question is off by a mile.
After the naming of the ODM members who've been perhaps nominated by the president to join his cabinet, therein we witnessed some sort of calm definitely here, and it's like the protests are not as maybe as vibrant as they were back then. What then happens to the revolution? I know you've been at the forefront here, supporting the Gen Zs and all those people who are involved in the protests here, but then certain quarters do claim that perhaps the revolution is dead and that the demonstrations will not be seen again because it's like they've been fixed, kind of.
Tarehe 8 mwezi wa 8 mwaka wa 2024, 888, the people of Kenya will have their day with destiny. And that will tell you that the revolution is not dead. The revolution is on. You cannot kill a revolution. You can only kill a revolutionary. But the revolution can never die. The revolution is on. And there's a set date between the people of Kenya and this economic system that is strangling them. That revolution can never end. Nobody called it, and nobody can call it out off. It continues. What you witnessed was just the little breath that Raila had given Ruto. That lull. But then there's the reality. Is that a solution to our problem? How is ODM the solution to our problem? ODM was never a problem before. We were not on the streets demanding that ODM to be included in cabinet. That was not the problem. So when you provide ODM as a solution, how? It's like saying 1 + 1 is equal to 2. But then someone tells you 1 + 1 is equal to 22. I mean, it cannot be. Because 22 was never, you can never arrive at 22. If 1 + 1 should be 2. So ODM cannot be the answer to the economic problem, and it's not. If, as I said, the problem was an exclusivist government, that people wanted an inclusive government, then ODM members joining cabinet will be a solution. In 2007, for example, arising out of that political crisis, there was the quest to have an inclusive government. And forming the Grand Coalition government was a solution. It pacified the country, and everybody accepted. In fact, our golden years as a country so far was the period 2007 to 2013. That's when we saw upon economic growth and change in the national psyche that we've never seen before.
Okay.
So today, how is that? That's not a problem. So that is why if you walk on the streets today, you're still seeing people in a state of despair. People are not taking ownership of that new political arrangement because that political arrangement does not respond to the problem. The problem is the economy. And before you deal with that economy, forget it. It's the economy, stupid.
So therefore, do you then believe that perhaps the entry of the ODM members into this may actually fuel the agitation among the people and therefore lead to more protests?
Of course. What has happened is that the political class has taken one side. So now the divide is very clear. It's us versus them.
Okay.
The traditional politician versus the people of Kenya. To the traditional politician, when an opportunity presents itself, it's an opportunity for you to amass seats for yourselves. To the ordinary Kenyan, when a crisis emerges, they want a solution that is about us, all of us as the people of Kenya.
Okay.
To the politician, their solution is for them to find seats for themselves. So the conversation is very clear. So you're either with the people of Kenya or with William Ruto. The ODM members who have joined cabinet have chosen to be with William Ruto. So they've divorced themselves from Kenyans. And you're going to see the people reacting. The people are going to say no. We are not doing these demonstrations. We are not in this revolution to pacify politicians. But this template that is being used is not new. All countries going through revolutions, at some point you see them calling a government of national unity. So it's not new.
Okay.
But they still fail. So there's nothing new that has happened here. You don't even say that William Ruto has invented a new way of dealing with the revolution. No. It's been in the books. It's been applied and used before. And they've all failed. The government of national unity is normally towards the last tail of a regime. When now they call everybody in, that they can politically marshal into the room. So that they all take ownership. Because you get isolated. And as you're getting isolated by the people, you want to look for political warmth. The easiest way is to get it from politicians. So you create a GNU. So what he has done. It will not work.
We're moving towards the 8th of August, Nane, as you people are saying it. But at this particular moment, because I've seen that go rather trend and people are like, okay, so you were saying here that Kenyans have a date with destiny. And maybe we're likely to see more protests on that particular day. But then what is the agenda this time round? Because I think there are certain mechanisms through which we can solve our problems as a country. What is the agenda that cannot be solved through dialogue that has to have people going on the streets?
The people of Kenya are walking in their pockets with their sovereignty. As I sit here, I have my sovereignty in my pocket. You have your sovereignty in your pocket. The people of Kenya recalled their sovereignty from the elected representatives, particularly Parliament and the President. They recalled it.
Okay.
They are exercising their sovereignty directly. The only solution to this is to give the people an opportunity to redonate part of their sovereignty to democratically elected representatives. So when you say dialogue, there can be no dialogue apart from on the ballot. Because you're not going to convene a meeting of 50 million Kenyans. That meeting can only take place at the ballot box. Ruto must go, the people must go to vote, to donate back their sovereignty. That's the only dialogue that is going to solve this problem. Anything short of it, we are just postponing the inevitable. Coming, it is coming. The only question is when, not if.
Okay. So for you people, it's Ruto must go. That is the only way out of this crisis.
There is no other way, whether it takes a miracle. There is no other way, even if it takes prayers, that you're going to pacify the people who have reclaimed their sovereignty.
Okay.
You must only give them a tangible process through which they can donate that sovereignty to their elected representatives. William Ruto now lacks the public goodwill. How are you going to govern without public goodwill? Because governing is not about you, it's about the people. You are just but a trustee, acting in trust of the people who elected you, who you are leading. If the owners of the trust have recalled their trust, of what business do you have to continue serving them? That's what has happened to William Ruto. He has no goodwill. And nothing will come out of this man. And it's not like Kenyans hate him. They don't hate him. They just don't agree with the governing model. And they're not seeing how they can continue with this for the next 3 years. We can as well finish it now. The sooner he sees it, the better.
Okay. Tarehe 8 mwezi wa 8 is still maybe a week from now. Let's wait and see what happens then. But you're saying that Kenyans are still marching and the movement is still on and the revolution is still on.
The revolution can never die. Okay. You can kill a revolutionary, but you can never kill a revolution.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, let's wait and see what happens between now and the 8th of August as fresh protests are being planned here. And of course, are being covered for by people here saying that they are not yet satisfied with the kind of measures that the president has taken so far. And they are still maintaining this kind of stance that they will be there on the streets to demand for what they call the irreducible minimum. And they're saying that Ruto must go. Well, I wonder what you have to say about this. You can weigh in on this conversation and tell us whether you think that it's necessary still for our people to go back